Hello everyone, George here, and we're back again in Five Nights at Freddy's. We've got some things to do. If we come over to the Unity scene, we'll notice that we have the speaker and the web. However, they're currently working on Fongs, so we need to create a shader for them, export it out, bring it on over so we can see what we created. So here's the cobweb. Let's go ahead. Now let's call it Security Room Web. This one has Security Room Speaker, so all we need to do is grab the Security Room itself and export this out as one giant group. So let's see. Send Unity. Actually, let's go to set Unity project first and make sure we're in the right place, and we're not. So choose A Night at Georgie's, select, and now let's go to File, Send to Unity Selection, and go to Level, and find Security Room. Yes. Now let's jump back over here. Now these should now have, they still have the Fong materials, but I should have the material that I'll be placing on them within the materials folder right here. So here we go. So we have glass, switch, door, light, window border. Okay, so it looks like we didn't get it after all. So why don't we try this again really quick and make sure I didn't make any mistakes. So there's security room underscore front underscore M. That is a Fong material. That is a spider web. Let us grab the room again. Jump on down here and let me just see where these two objects are. So there's the web. There's the speaker. So file, send to Unity selection. Let's go to embed material media. Let's try that. Security room, yes. Come back over to Unity really quick. Did it make anything? No. So what that's telling me is I just need to make the materials myself and make sure that the names match up, and then things will actually merge properly later on. So we'll create two new materials. And let's go over to Maya and copy their names. So we've got this one for the web. Let's go ahead and do that. There we are. And we need another one for the speaker. And there we are. Great. Now that we have those two set up, we just need to apply them to the proper object. So I'll take this and throw it on there. And we need web, and I will throw it on there. Now, right now, the brightness is all the way up. In Maya, it gets defaulted down to about halfway. So I'm just going to slide those down. I'm not going to make it exactly perfect. It doesn't matter. Now I can lock my inspectors and go into my textures and find these and place them where they're supposed to go. So here's the speaker. So here's the speaker. That doesn't look right. Albedo, metallic, normal. There's the web. Let's go to metallic. Let's try normal really fast and hit fix now. Yeah, it certainly does not look right at all. You can see the UVs are all messed up on this part right here. And what about the web? So if we go to this object, unselect, select, open this up. Let's see if the web's all messed up as well. Oh yes, completely wrong. So maybe I have an earlier version of the scene currently loaded. That might be the problem. Let's fix that. Okay, so jumping back over to Maya, what am I in? I'm in 08. So open up floor layout 08. Let's go to date modify just so I can try to remember what was the last thing I was messing with here. Rough floor layout, HVAC, rough floor layout 7 and 8. So both of those look fine. So why do I have the wrong stuff here? Let's look at the UV editor. There's the UV editor. That looks fine to me. And here are the UVs for that. That looks fine to me as well. So the only thing I can think of is that whatever I exported out of Substance Painter is messed up. So let's find the speaker webs. So there it is right there. That looks okay to me. Let's load up the 2D view of this whole thing and see if that matches. So there's that. Oops. And this is how Maya looks at it. So the two match up just fine. So that's correct as well. So let's just do a re-export. Export textures. Let's see, Unity Standard. Here are these two. That should be fine. So FNAF SP textures web. Let's go ahead and hit export. Open that folder up. Grab the whole folder and take it into A Night at Georgie's, assets, scenes, whoops, not scenes, level. Let's see, security room, textures, and speaker web. Replace those files real quick. All right, now come over here to Unity. Now it does not look as though it's done anything. So let's see here. Scenes. Just get another look at these really quick. So it definitely seems like the model itself is getting messed up. So let's see. It looks like there were changes made to it. So let's go to Edit, Delete by Type History. Let's also go to Modify, Reset Transforms, and I'm just going to do a scale on this. And save that really fast. Go to Security Room, File, and go to Send to Unity Selection, Security Room, and I'm sorry, it should be Security Room.fbx. I've got the wrong FBX, don't I? Now, there we go. That's better. So at least this one's correct. So let's go to Transparent on that. And what is annoying me is that the whole thing is shiny, and that's not what I want. So I need a transparency layer to be exported with this, but it does not appear to be exported or impacting the other channels, which is a problem. Let's try cut out. That's better. What about fade? Just go with fade for right now, I suppose. Now selecting this object, there's definitely something not working. So is this the right thing? So that's speaker. That's albedo. Oh, whoops. That's not correct. So this one should be the speaker, this, and that. And is it because... I guess it does need to be set to 1 to make it high enough. Never mind. I do not know what I'm talking about. Now going back to the web real quick. Let's make that pure white again. There we are, that's better. Okay, so that's our speaker. We don't have any reflections going on at the moment, so we're not seeing anything going on there. So save that. Now we can notice that I got some UV problems right over here. See them? So I screwed something up right there. Or the normals from one side aren't the same as the other. Those ones don't match those ones. So let's go over to Maya really fast and see about that. So if we grab this side and look at the UVs, there we are. And if we grab this side, we can see the differences right there. Looks like they're all laid out though. That's interesting. So then what does the texture look like on these? Okay, so that's the texture. So you can see the stretching coming in over here. So let's just double up those UVs for us. So we're going to take the UVs from one, from this side, and transfer them to the other side. So let's see, mesh, transfer attributes, hit apply. Now you'll notice it move them over from one side to the other. And when we export the room out, it should fix that problem. Now if we zoom in, yes, we no longer have that issue right there. Great. Now we also need to transfer the lighting from that side over to the other side. So let's go to Maya really fast and see what our UVs are like and if I duplicated things over properly. So let's see here. Here's this one, frame on up. And I had beveled the outside. This one does not have that, so I do know now that it's a completely different element. So let's go to light switch L. I'm going to duplicate this and make a light switch R. Let's go ahead and take it, move it on out, frame up on it, and I'm going to go to WD and move this to the back of it. I believe, yep. And we're going to flip this whole thing around. So hopefully we can do the flip on every object. So let's go to Shift right click and mirror. And I want to do flip. I want to do that across the X axis. Apply, hit close. And there we are. Perfect. I'm going to hit edit, delete by type history though on it. And we are going to move this over here. And I'm just going to get rid of the old one. Let's see. There we are. Let's grab the new one and push it up against the side. And I'm going to want these materials to be independent of each other, so I might as well just give them separate ones now. So if we click on one of these objects, let's go ahead and just delete it, edit, delete by type history. Now we have light switch M. What I'm probably going to want is light switch underscore R M. Whoops. So wait a second. So that's light switch door. So this is light switch. Let's see. Let's click here. It's light switch L backing. And we have R backing. Now let's switch this to R top and R bottom. Great. Now for the attributes on this, this is going to be light switch underscore R, or no, light switch light underscore R. There we are. We'll do the same thing up here. Light switch door underscore R underscore. And then this one will just be light switch R material. And technically we should do the same thing on this side with L's, but we're not going to bother right now. Okay, let's go up here to security room, save file, send to Unity, selection, and security room. Okay, back inside of Unity now. We can start working with things. So it looks like when I brought that in, I lost my associations with my textures here. So I've got these ones right there. Let's turn that off. These objects, but they're all using R because I changed the material name because I'm like an idiot that I am. So we might as well just set these up while we're going to wait because I'm going to need to duplicate them off anyway. So security room, materials, so we have light switch, door. Let's just make this work over here first, underscore L, then we have R, then we have underscore L, then we have R, then we have underscore L, and then we have R. So we've got all of them now. We just need to set them up properly. So you are light control top, light control bottom. That's just R, light switch R, so you should be light switch L. And you should be door RM, door LM, and you should be LM, light LM. There we go. Now I should be able to, let's see, can I guess not. Hi everyone, George here, and we're back inside of Unity, and Before, I had to cut the video short because of some stuff that happened, but let's go ahead and move this material from this side over to the other side now. So we've got, what is this, light switch R backing, and we have the material for that, light switch RM, and then we have this one, light switch LM, so we need to make sure that these all match up properly. So we'll go to this one, extend it, bring it to a texture, and let's find where that is. So security room, textures, light switch, let's go under there. And actually, it's probably just going to be easier for us to, let's see, take the old one and duplicate it and just give it a new name. So I'm going to delete light switch door RM, delete, take this one, duplicate it, and give it a nice R in there instead. R, enter. Whoops. That was not the right one, was it? This is LM1. And let's see, you are L, which is correct. So you go there. And let's now find the next one. So let's light switch, which should be the same for both, so we can use the same material. And light switch light LM and R. Let's delete R. Duplicate this one. Give it a nice name. Enter. And place it down there. Okay, so those are our materials set up now. Now I want to jump in here and start seeing what the game world's actually like. So let's find the head of everything. So off camera I had pulled the body, or at least I was contemplating pulling the body out of the camera manager area, because now that we're getting more into the Vive kinds of stuff, having these cameras here doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So now we have this separate one right here. We have our body, a location in space, X and Y. It's got our character controller. It's got our movement controls. Now, does the character controller? No, it does not have that. So what actually has our body? Is that the character controller? So slope, limit, step, offset, skin width, let's see, move, distance, center. There we go. So I'm actually going to do something like this. Move the center of that down. Actually, let's make it 1 meter. That's actually a pretty huge body, so let's make that 0.4 possibly. Actually, maybe even less than that. 0.25. Make it narrower. And the height we'll set to, I don't know, 1.8 meters. Maybe a little bit less. We'll bring that down. There we go. Okay, so what happens if I hit run? So right now I'm sitting, so I grab my headset and I put it on. I am in the world. It looks like I'm in the right place, too. And I can move around. Here are my horrible looking power things. I'm sitting right now, that's why I'm down low. Oh, look at that. The UVs got mirrored over. We got to fix that. But anyway, so we have no functionality at the moment with anything because we got rid of all that stuff. We're going to have to go back and create it. Okay. Uh-oh. Something happened and that was not good. So I've got so many other scripts going on, we can see all the errors popping out over here. So let's go free aspect on that, I suppose. Well, at least that's the body. So now we need to make it so that the hands actually do something. Now we've got these horrible looking cylinders for the moment. I would like to replace them with actual hands at some point. So we'll have to make hand models. But for right now, we're just going to let it be what it is. Now we've got a lot of stuff getting pushed out over here. Reference on the behavior, the reference script on this behavior is missing. So these have to do with controllers. So this is, I'm guessing, a prefab on something. Yes, prefabs. We have camera system, excuse me. And nothing is selected on that one. So let's see. So the script cannot be loaded. Is matrix doesn't matter. That doesn't matter either. It's saying script references on objects are not accessible as well. So when we run the game, we get a bunch of stuff on our hands. So So let's do that really quick. So we have, what do we have here? Time and power level. So let's try to get all that stuff hooked back up. God, saying everything's missing. So we've got our usable security door buttons. That's going to have to be put on the right thing. So let's find them really quick. Now what does power graphic do? Power graphic will put on the left hand. So there's controller left. It's got these guys. Let's see, Vive controller left, Vive controller left. So it's got the script twice. Let's remove one of them. The right one has both a left and a right, so that's going to be problematic. Let's remove one of them. And actually, I want to hit apply. So now we have all this other stuff. So we have power graphics, usage graphics, and temp hand model. And each of these are going to need stuff. So power graphic script, battery life graphic. All right, that's just simple text that gets attached to the object. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. That probably grabs the power manager somewhere, probably here. There's also usage graphics, which are right here. So those are the different levels of usage, if I remember correct. And it doesn't look like anything there needs to be changed at the moment. Now we might need to frame up on these and pull them out of the surface, because right now they're embedded all the way in. There we go. So before I do that, let's grab you, and you, and pull all of you out of the surface. So now it's above the hand. And I think that's it for that hand. Just going to hit run again. I just want to see where things are at. So let's see, if I move these up in the air, I'm just going to put the Vive on my head. That's just going to be easier. All right, it says power's down to 0%. It's 12 a.m. I got to adjust my near plane. I also need to push my body into the damn place. So let's do that. So grab, let's see, turn this off real quick. Grab the system body, push that in. I'm also going to rotate it 90 degrees, or 180 degrees, excuse me. So there's 180. So now at least I'm looking into the room. Save it again. I'm going to check it out. There's my hand. There's power. Better. I need to adjust that near plane, so let's do that really quick. Near plane. So that's off. And camera system. Camera head. And there's our camera object. Background, we're going to set that to black. Skybox is going to be just a solid color. Projection, field of view is fine. Near plane is going to be 0.1 this time. And the far plane is going to be 500. There we go. It's always better to adjust the near plane before the far plane, because, I'm sorry, that if you can get away with your near plane being further out, it helps out with Z-fighting far more than moving your far plane in due to the math involved. And I believe it's a division that occurs. It's not linear, basically, the function that evaluates it. Let's try this again. Okay. Looking good. Power is down to 0, although the graphic is not updating. But I guess that's use, right? So actually, another thing we're going to have to do is get these drawers to work. So they need to be interactable so that we can grab them and pull them open. Okay. This should be interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I want to keep this the Vive on my head, excuse me, because I just want to keep checking it out and making changes as necessary. So let's get rid of that power problem where the power cycling is going way too fast. So I believe I put like a constant drain into this world, and I need to get rid of that. So there's the power manager. So here we go. Power sync is set up to be that. Let's make that a serializable field so that I can see it. So let's do serializable field, serialized field, power sync. And that's set up to 20 right now, 20 units. Now, I believe those units are in units per second. So let's take a look down here and see what the math turns out to be. So usage plus equals 1, minus equals 1, charge minus equals power sync times time to delta time. Yeah, so that's charge per second. So let's make this like a unit of charge per second is always on for right now. I don't know what the real one is in the game. I'd have to just let it play without looking. So now let's try that and make sure it works. All right, and whoa, okay, hold on. That was weird. Did it really just go down that fast? Oh, you know what? I bet you it wasn't changed here in the inspector. So power manager here is not 20, it's 1. There we go. Now let's give that a go. There it is, 98, 97, 96. That's way too fast even. So this is probably like 0.5 or 0.2, something along those lines. Okay, now the usage isn't happening. Also, when I rotate this, I don't think I want to be able to see behind it, so I need to do some sort of a special shader on that. And also, I don't know if I want to cull the buttons, though, the use buttons. I might need the opposite shader for that. I should also probably come up with something to keep your hands from going through things, putting some colliders on top of them. All right, more stuff to do. Let's jump in. So really quick, before we go any further, I am going to lower that to maybe like 0.5, have that again, and I'm going to hit apply so that our prefabs get fixed along with it. Now, usage, that's an important one. So the use manager, security room, none, camera. It's interesting. Okay, so what do you need that for? So use manager defines an interface usable that other classes use to use things. So there's a use manager instance. So that's a static one to grab. Camera security room. What are you using the camera for? You use it to do a raycast. If a mouse button is up, security room, security point to ray, dot position, raycast, cast it, hit collider, usable. If temp does not equal null, use. So we don't have a current way of using something if it's not using the mouse. So we're going to want to use the Vive controls to make that actually happen instead. And it looks like we have something planned right here. So let's see, if Vive setup, this dot enable equals false. Let's just get rid of this because we are doing the Vive setup anyway. And if physics.raycast, blah, 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 blah. So this should be, what is this, Vive input dot get instance dot get button down left menu. Well, actually, let's see. Anytime it is pressed. So what do I want to do? What button do I want to be interacting? Triggers, right? So trigger on trigger down left and on trigger down right plus equals a function. And this is not how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to grab this and put this up inside the start area. The reason for that is so we can register with the Vive input our method that's going to be called and invoked every time on button down left trigger gets pressed. And we are also going to do the same thing here, but for the right trigger, RIGHT, and we are going to invoke the same method regardless. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I'm probably going to have to do some checking in the future, so you don't double have stuff happen. Now that's on button down. It should probably be on button up, I'm thinking. And this is not going to be a raycast like what we're seeing here. So I'm actually going to comment all of this out. Okay, so it's not a raycast. Instead, we need to know whether or not we have collided with another object and if we are inside of it. That's what we're going to be doing. So in the, what is it? Where the hell is the body? Camera manager. I don't like, we're going to just rename this to body. There we go. And we're going to rename this to head because I hate what that's called. There's controller left, controller right. That's fine. We can go with that. So we have all of that stuff. We don't need any of that. What am I dealing with? I'm dealing with controller left and controller right. Specifically, I have graphics on each of them. Those are under the temp models right here and right here. And I have hand and hand. So hand is going to get, it has a, what is this? A capsule collider already around it. And this one also has a capsule collider. They're not triggers. Now let me double check the Unity chart on what interacts with what. So Unity collision chart. This is a great little one that I always like to just look at because half the time I forget what does what. Okay, so collision detection occurs and messages are sent upon collision. Trigger message are sent. We don't want a trigger in this case. We're dealing with, well, it could be either way, really. Trigger being you've pushed into something. So if we have a trigger message are sent, what do we need to make that happen? So it only happens with a static collider. We have a rigid collider, a kinematic rigid body collider, rigid body trigger collider, and kinematic rigid body trigger collider. So that will do everything right here. Okay, so let's add a rigid body to both of these. All right, they're not going to use gravity. And they are both kinematic. That is, we are directly setting their positions through the Vive input stuff. Controller right gets updated basically, and that's what's doing all the work. And those are the, so that's the collider. So that's all good. Now I need objects that end up being used to interact with. And those are going to be these ones right here. So we had some scripts just for usable. And so we had what? Usable light. And is there a usable door? Let's see. So here's usable light, power, usable light source. Oh no, usable is, it takes energy, right? Yeah, on power outage. No, there's powered and there's usable. Those are two very different things. In fact, usable should not really have any ties to powered. That should be separate. So I should change that in the future. Where's the door script? Because we had working doors. Usable security door button. Where did you go? Oh, there it is, under scripts. It was under there, I just was blind. Okay, so usable security door. It's both powered and it's inherits from powered, and it's also usable. Powered should also be, well, whatever. We'll deal with that later. So there's open door, and then there's closed door. Start, there's void. What are these? These are enumerators so that these are all coroutines. Okay, so I think we just got to put this on the door, right? Let's see, what is it doing? Door.local position. Yeah. All right, so let's just attach these to the two doors. This one and this one, I believe. All right, security door left, security door right. Usable security. Oh wait, that's not it. It needs a reference to them. That's what it needs. So I need to grab both buttons and add them to it. That's how I did it. Do these here. So wattage, how much it takes, door height, how high it goes, door speed, how quickly it does that, and then finally the transform for the door itself. So let's grab the left one first, lock that down just so I don't screw it up. And you need to be affected by this guy. So grab you and put that there. Let's go to this door. Now you need to be affected by this one. Whoops. Unselect, select, grab that, move it to there. Save. All right. Now, it says 0 wattage. So is wattage something, let me look at this. Oh, wattage I would have inherited from powered. Let's go to the definition of that. So yeah, there's a wattage value there. So let's say wattage is 1. I think it's 1 for each, right? Something like that, maybe. Save, hit run, see what happens. All compiler errors have to be fixed, okay? All right. Oh, we did not attach events to happen when we clicked the use stuff. So this is the use manager. We're saying that when we click something, we now want something else to happen. When we trigger an object, right? So we need to know we're inside of that object first. So I jumped the gun majorly here, didn't I? Okay, let's look at this again. Usable security door button. Now what makes you happen? Open door, close door, start, there's use, which gets called. Okay, so we gotta somehow figure out to call use on this particular object. To do that, we need to know what gets clicked, and we do that in the use manager, and the use manager will call use, which is this part, pretty much, here, except we're not dealing with the collider as much. We're going to use that code in just a second. I'm going to let it just kind of float. And let's do a, what is it, a public used, what is it, usable, or not usable, game object, collided, triggered object, let's call it that. Triggered used object. And we should probably make this used or usage, usable. Okay, so this is null to begin with. So at first nothing happens, then we need on trigger. So what is this? Void on trigger enter, and then we also are going to need private void on trigger exit. And we're just going to store, basically going to check to see whether or not this happens, if it has a usable object on it. So on trigger enter, collider other, let's grab other other.gameObject.get component usable. If temp does not equal null, temp.use. So we're seeing if it's got a usable on it, but we don't want to call use now. We instead are just going to store, where is it? Triggered used object is equal to temp. We're holding on to it. Okay? So let's see here. What do you give me crap for? Cannot implicitly convert usable to usable light. Did I? Oh, that's the problem. All right. Gotta read. So that happens. So we'll store that. And if this happens over here, what we want to do is if we've exited out of something, so let's do this. If we've left something that's usable, then what we want to do is, all right, so we store it there on trigger enter. If temp does not equal null, we do that. So it's got to be empty first. You're not allowed to store more than one object at a time. So that's important. Now on exit, we grab the usable object. If temp does not equal null, well, really what we should be doing is if temp is equal to, what is this? What is our temporary value called? Triggered used object. Then we can do triggered used object is equal to null, because we're only going to allow us to remove that object when it is the right object. And I'm just thinking about if somehow we have multiple events firing off and then we start screwing stuff up. Okay, so that's happened, but this has nothing to do with actually firing anything off. This just has to do with detecting whether or not we're within an object that is usable. Now we have to add the functions that are going to make this stuff actually work. So for that, we need a, what is it, void on button up, left, triggered. We'll call it that. And we'll do the same thing, but for the right trigger. Because right now I'm not going to discriminate between the left and the right. They're both going to do the same functionality. We can figure something else out later on. Okay, so you go here, and you go here. And all these are going to... Actually, I could pass in the same function for each, but if we do change something in the future, it's just better to have them split up. So all we need to do now is this line right here. And I am going to just do a double check really quick to make sure that temp does not equal null. If temp does not equal null, then temp.use. And it's not temp anymore, it's triggered used object. Great. Okay, so that's that. Let's come back over here and see if our errors have gone away yet. So that's cleared up. Let's hit run. Now, did I put those scripts on anything yet? So the door light has the usable object. Right now it's not controlling the emissive colors either, so those won't work. So we have that happening. Then we have the hands themselves. The hands have the collision stuff on them to make these happen. The usable objects are going to get that information, and we should be good to go, I think. Let's try it. All right, so we've got my hand somewhere, please. There's a hand. And I got a door over here. See if I got any errors doing that. No errors, actually. So let's see what went wrong. So here's my object. Does that object have a collider on it? It does not. So let's add to it a collider. Box collider. And it will be triggerable. So that should be all I need for that. We'll do the same thing for the other side. So let's see. This one, wait a second. Did I lock something? I did lock it. Okay. Hold on. Was I selecting the right thing? No. What was I grabbing? Was it this object? Gave something a collider. I don't know what. Let's try this for the moment. Let's add the box collider back. Turn is triggerable on. Do the same thing over here for this door. This one does have the box collider, so I must have been working on that one. And I'm going to grab, just so my life's a little bit easier, the body and move it back a bit. And run. Okay. Our hands. Whoops. There we go. Chunk. Goes up. As we expect. It's got a little bit of a glitch there. And I don't like the, I think it's too dark. I don't have much of a definition between the caution lines and this black material. So I want to do something with that most likely. Now that might just because I don't have any kind of real reflections going on in the room. So that could be breaking things. The rest of the stuff, we should add the usable fan stuff so the fan blade starts rotating. Oh, there's a little bit of an issue right there I can see with my UVs that I didn't check beforehand, did I? Oh well. Could be worse. And uh-oh, there he is right out there. He's getting a funky shadow on him, isn't he? Uh-oh, game over. He's in here. So let's see. Yep, looks good. Okay. All right, continuing on. All right, we gotta fix a few things, right? Save. So that door opened. I'm going to assume the other one's going to open as well. Now, when it did open up, there was a jerkiness to it. So let's see what that was about really quick. And if there's something I can do about it very fast. So, don't know why you're there, but you're gone. So open door, this happens while amount is less than door height. Increase it, then set it back to its original position. That seems fine. Yeah, that seems fine. That's being done on every frame. We do need sounds. I'm going to have to start recording sounds at some point. Fan. Let's do the fan blades, right? I'm going to end this video, and then we're going to jump into the fan next and set it up with, I guess, maybe turn on, and then 3 power settings, I guess. 3 speed settings. See you next time. So long, goodbye.